get a notification from Reverend
Yes,
Cars that we're live?
Yes, I did. Well, I'm living in the future. It's on my watch. I'm like Dick Tracy.
Check this out.
Okay.
Ready?
Yes. I need one of that pedal because I just read it.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great pedal.
Hey everybody, it's Friday morning. Welcome to the Circle I Ranch here in sunny, beautiful Toledo, Ohio, where it's both sunny and beautiful today. And we have a special guest. It's Brian Hansen from Bees Music in Mount Pleasant, Michigan.
Hello.
He's coming down here in person to pick up his orders now because he's a good dealer.
I buy a lot of stuff and I don't want to pay shipping for a 2-hour drive.
There you have it. There you have it. And it's a nice 2-hour drive too,
is.
right down 127.
Yeah.
I've done it a
Kick
number of
over
times.
and-
I've been to your store a number of times.
You have. You've sent Ward.
I've sent-
came recently.
Well, I didn't send him. He volunteered. He likes you. And you like him.
I do.
And somebody has to. So, yes, indeed. So here we are. Hi, Carl. How are you, buddy? We just wanted to say hi. We want to get that out of the way.
Yes.
Thanks for tuning in
Adam
today.
Baum.
I forget. Yeah, Adam Baum.
Adam Baum.
I know. I always
Carl.
forget his real name because he's so prolific on our web show. And so, yeah, hey, Brian, when Brian indicated that he wanted to come down here and pick up stuff in person, he was coming on Friday. I thought it would be fun to do something a little bit different with this show and have a dealer on because we often have artists in these chairs, and we have a very specific artist 12 questions.
Oh, okay.
And we thought it might be. We also have a dealer 12 questions. Do you remember that?
I did one like 12 or 15.
Yeah, it's been a long time ago.
It's been
And
a
we
long
used
time.
to, because we have a beautiful spanking new website.
Yeah, I have seen your new website.
And on the website, not the website before this one, but the website before that one, we had dealer 12 questions listed on there, didn't we, LG?
We did.
And Miss Penny is behind the computer seeing everybody's questions today. However, she is not mic'd up, so that Brian and I could both be mic'd up today. And we don't have enough mics to go around, so Brian and I don't get to jam together.
No, okay, good.
So we're going to keep the jamming to a minimum today and bore you all with lots of talking. But I would like to point out that I am holding a Italian purple Crosscut model that somebody accidentally dropped a screwdriver on this week, or a pair of pliers or something, which
I
it
would
doesn't.
not have noticed.
It doesn't. Well, no, you would have. If I'd have sent that to you, you'd have been like, oh, dude, look. And it doesn't happen very often around here, but it does happen occasionally. And often when it does happen, then I just end up playing that guitar.
Oh.
Sometimes for years and years and years. But I love the Cleancut rail hammers, and I'm very pleased that the Cleancut was always kind of the sleeper in the railhammer line. And then when we started marketing this guitar and really talking about this guitar a lot, we are selling a lot more Cleancut pickups. I think people are hearing demos that people are doing with this guitar and buying Cleancuts to put in their own guitars, and that's rad.
That's funny because when we were driving here, I was telling him that's my favorite pickup.
Yeah,
Was
well,
a
we're
Cleancut.
not
Yeah, that's what I have in most of my guitars. Is I take humbuckers out, I put in the clean cuts because I just like it's just very clear and
yeah, and well,
it's a good single. It's a good beefy, but yeah, it's a
right,
good
yeah,
single.
totally. Well, and of course it's quiet.
Yes.
But I talk. One of the things that I talk about in this chair often, and I talked about it on the Flat Rock demos that we did this week with the Retro Blast pickups, is that low output humbuckers are awesome for guys with pedal boards like this.
Yes.
I
Bigger
talk
is
about
always better. Right?
And I talk about this in clinics a lot. I've been talking about this a lot over the last 15 years or so. But in the 70s, everything was clean, and everybody wanted dirty. People wanted to sound like, like the Free Song and Zeppelin and all of that stuff. And in order to achieve that tone with the clean amps, DiMarzio and Seymour Duncan based careers on making high output pickups. And then the higher output pickups sort of became the standard across the industry, right? And now I've kind of discovered, and I think people are discovering, it's not just me, it's not like I'm some sort of like, oh, look what I stumbled on. But the fact is that the lower output pickups allow you to play with your high gain products
There's
more.
an unlimited amount of gain.
Yeah,
on your
there's
board
yeah,
now.
yeah.
You don't need to. You used to run up against running out of gain, and that doesn't happen.
Yeah, that doesn't happen because the high gain pedals and like, oh, I got an EVH, I have 5150 over here, this Invective thing behind me. I mean, there is gain forever and ever and ever in these amps, and so with the lower output pickups, you actually find yourself able to utilize some of these things. And big signal chains too, like I'm sitting in front of a pedal board that has 7 various overdrives and fuzzes and stuff on them, and you can play around with that.
Well, you know, I remember when the PAF was like in the 90s was like really having this big, oh, PAF, and I think that was what people, they didn't really understand why they liked the PAF, and I think because it was a lower output humbucker, and everybody loved these vintage PAFs, but they didn't really realize that what they really loved was a slightly lower output humbucker. I mean, there's other things in a PAF that make it great too, but in that kind of recipe of a pickup, but I think that was a lot of it too, and people just didn't, they just think bigger's better, higher output's better, and they just chased that till it was so brittle, and it just was like, it's just a compression right there. Right. It doesn't go anywhere. So. And
there's no right and there's no wrong.
No,
you know,
exactly. Not in this industry. I mean, everybody can do something great with anything.
Without a doubt. I've always got this idea in my head that single coils sound great through fuzz pedals and humbuckers sound great with overdrives or with distortion pedals more than single coils do. And there's a way that these pedals are EQ'd, I think, by the manufacturers where that holds true. And I think it's fun with the Cleancut pickup in particular. Let me get off that afterneath with all of its stuff and just run a little bit straight. But I think this pickup sounds great with everything. Here's a clone, which does like just a great Malcolm thing, you know. The super badass is, of course, the liquidy. And Charlie here is another real throaty sounding, kind of like the clone thing. Also does the Mountain thing great.
Right? I should know this because I'm a JHS dealer, but
I think so.
That
and then of course Angry Charlie. I'm having a chord issue here.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. That's one of my favorite pedals of all time. This is a Boss Turbo distortion. So just because you're thinking like Cleancut pickup, it'll do anything. Earthquaker Plumes, which is a little bit brighter, I think, than the Charlie or the clone. Yeah, Earthquaker stuff is awesome. Yeah. And then from up in your neck of the woods, of course, here's the Wonder, the Red Rider. Fuzz.
I love the aesthetic on that too. It's like paneling like a house or something. That's really great.
And then I like putting the clone in front of the fuzz, like this.
So is the clone, is that a clone? Is that way? Okay,
yeah,
I was just making sure I was picking up
on it. And that Into the Red Rider pedal just sustains forever. I've got a demo coming, y'all, with the GPS. And I'm going to run that clone into that Red Rider fuzz. And with the GPS, with the Fishmans, it does this great thing. So there's little tone nonsense, plug in, of course, the Reverend Cleancuts. But now, let's get back to you.
Okay, about
You're here. We talked about gear. That was fun. But now we're going to make it about you.
Okay.
Because
I make it about fun than Cleancuts, but yes.
I make it about me every Friday.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. And sometimes we try to make it about little gal over there, too. And then when she's not here, then
she's like, "You've never done that."
And then poor Jeff, when Jeff has to sub for little gal, if little gal's out of town or at home or doing something different or whatever, then everybody's like, "Ooh, what's with Jeff? Why is Jeff there?" It's pretty awesome. I think it's funny because I like it when Jeff gets picked on. He deserves it. And I can say that all I want to because Jeff is off today, and I guarantee he is not watching. So we should all take this moment to talk about Jeff. So. Jeff. All right, Brian.
Okay.
Bees Music, Mount Pleasant, Michigan. Give us a brief history of your store.
So, I mean, the real history of the store is, I've been in this industry. I'm 40. I've been in this industry 23 years now.
Youngster.
So, yeah. I'm in a weird position. I started working at a music store in high school. Worked there about 3 years. It got sold. At 20, for some reason that is even more mysterious to me now as I get older, I decided to start my own music store, and I rented a building and got a sales tax license and did the dumbest thing. I mean, it worked, you know,
Yeah,
it seems good now, but it seems really brave at 20 to just like take out a loan for an inventory. I started the store with probably less money than I'm picking up your order with today, you know, and I just decided I was gonna have a music store, and you know, one foot in front of the other, it went from just me and about 12 guitars. I mean, right now, I don't think you've been lately, but like even that front room, the entire ceiling's guitars now. So in that first room you walk into, I think it holds like 298 guitars, just electrics in that room. And I'm one of the top 5 Ibanez dealers in the whole Midwest now. I just got told that by Ibanez, so not to say anything about anyone else, but you know, we're doing a lot. I mean, we do a lot of stuff with you guys. We're really. You know, I don't know what happened, but we ship a lot now. We really went just slowly. We moved into a bigger building. We bought that building. It was a duplex, had a bookstore in it. We knocked out the bookstore because you came when I first knocked out that wall that year. I did like a big hoopla thing, and we emptied that room, and there was like an empty room with like 20 acoustics in it. And I'm like, and now that's completely. It has about 200 or 300 acoustics in it, and we do vinyl records now. That became a thing. There's no record store in our college town, and somehow I fell into vinyl records. Now we have 6,000 vinyl records.
Man!
So that room. The south room is all acoustics on the walls and the ceiling, and then the floor is all record shop.
What's an acoustic?
I don't know. I work on the other side.
Do you sell rotary phones too?
I do.
All right.
I do sell rotary phones. Yeah. But yeah, we just slowly kind of crawled our way. You know, we're in central Michigan. We're kind of in the middle of nowhere, but we have tended to be like the store. You know, not to do the Michigan thing, but we're right in the center of the state. You know, we're an hour from Lansing. We're an hour from Grand Rapids. We're an hour from Flint. You know, or hour plus. And really, I joke that I own the last music store before Canada that's not 10 guitars, a guy, and a dog. You know, that's, you know, I mean, we have the last, like, real music store in the north, you know, and
Sarnia,
really
anyway.
fun. But yeah, we do a ton of pedals. We stock probably 500-600 pedals. We do a lot. Yeah, you haven't been there in a while. It's changed a lot in the last 2 years. You know, we overhauled a lot with COVID and got really heavy into shipping and started taking that serious. So we bought a building to the north, and that's just our shipping division. And we do all the photography. I have a videographer and 2 part-time photographers and a full-time photographer, and they just make us look good to the general public and show off what we got. And we've just put a lot of energy into trying to take it seriously and be, you know.
It's amazing.
I think in this industry, if you want to do well, you can't just screw around and hope. You know, I think you got to really be on, and
that's
work
true.
our ass off to be on. So.
What was the original inspiration? I mean, to take that leap at 20 years old.
You know, I think I just didn't have anything else going on. I think it was just like, I left that
Like,
store.
I don't want to go to college.
Yeah, you know, I was like, if this doesn't work, I'm going to go to engineering school. And it worked. So I didn't go to engineering school. So, I think I felt really good at it. You know, I managed that other store before I left, and I felt like I really kind of understood the industry, which, looking back now, I feel like I didn't know anything. But at the time, you know, I had a good kind of bump and groove and could kind of make it work, and I like this industry. I mean, this is an interesting world to work in, and I think you'd say that
it
too.
Is.
I mean,
for sure, of course.
There's no industry I think quite like it, and I just really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the people. I enjoyed running a store, and you know, I love the mechanism of the thing and kind of designing. You know, I like kind of throwing out everything and redesigning how we do things, and you know, the process. You know, the people talk about owning a business, but really, I think a lot of it is understanding the process and falling in love with refining the processes. I mean, you guys have done that a ton here. I mean, I was telling Eric on the drive here that, you know, when I first started dealing Reverend, there was 3 guys, Joe, Ken, and Zach Green, and that was the only 3 people really that were there when I went there, and. You know, and I was like, it's really wild to watch them like every couple of years. You know, there's a few more. Every time I come here, there's a person I don't know, and you know.
You started with us when we were in Warren.
You know, I think you had just moved to Livonia.
Oh, I
maybe
remember.
you were in Warren.
I remember. I think it was before 2010, right?
Yeah.
Oh, we were still in Warren.
Okay, because I remember. I don't ever.
I remember this. You had stickers with the Rod Ashton guitar on them. And that was like right after we launched that. That would have been like 2008 or 2009.
So I started with Reverend and I'm really one of these people that I won't play a guitar I don't already deal. And somebody that worked for me, I had a Dan Electro and I had an old Beater Flying V, and I was going between both of them in my band. and I couldn't find a guitar I really liked, and I was at this point as a tech where you're just taking like garbage and you're just, fine, I'll make it myself, and you sit on the bench and you make it play the way you want, and you do all the stuff, and I was at that point of frustration with not really finding anything that really inspired me. And I kept saying, you know, I like this Dan Electro, but I like this, and I just can't find a guitar that's the right mix of these two things. And then one of the guys that worked for me pulled out a Rocco. He goes, I bought this years ago in Detroit, you should try this. And I took that guitar home and I played it for about a week, and then I came back and I go, I don't know how to tell you this, but I'm never giving you that guitar back. And I've never really meant that. It wasn't a joke, but I'm like, you got to tell me how much you want for the guitar.
You still have it?
I don't. You know, Adam Baum has it.
Yeah, oh,
he has that Rocco. You know, and it's funny because it's serial number 1562.
Oh,
because
wow.
About a year later, I was mainly a bass player for a lot of years, and I bought, the only time I've ever bought a guitar in my life sight unseen, I got a Rumblefish, and it's 1064. Yeah, it's 1564 and 1064 because they're exactly 500 apart.
Oh, interesting.
And they're both JTNs in the back.
JFN.
JFN, sorry.
Yeah, no,
they're both signed by Joe, which was also kind of
that's
weird.
really cool.
Yeah. So you know, but I got those, and I just love those guitars. And then it was right around the time when you guys were transitioning and starting to make Korean guitars, I think it was even really early, the Workhorse series.
Yeah.
And I saw an ad in Vintage Guitar, and I went, you know, I love these guitars, and I'm playing this live. I really got to get into these guys, and I want to be selling them if I'm really into them. And I called up, and that was when I met you. I just called you out of the back of Vintage Guitar, and you guys ran an ad, and I think I got like 6 guitars, and it was like roundhouses and daredevils and very dated.
So that was well
models.
Before, because the roundhouse and the daredevil became the Sensei in 2008 or 9.
Oh yeah, this is like 2006 or 7.
Yeah,
I
it must have
say.
been. So we were for sure in Warren.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Because then, then we did that, and then it was a joke because I'd always liked Flying V's, and I said, you know, I really like this, and I haven't bought it, and I kept playing my USA, and I kept saying, you know, I really want to make a Flying V, and then the Volcano came out, and then I literally said this when I played, I go, you know, but I really want it in orange, and I really like single coils, and then like 6 months later, the Ashton came out, and I literally called you and bought one because I'm like, I can't. If I'm not going to get more of what I want than that, you've made it in the color. And then if you ever notice, the Ashtons always have that little, and you notice this, but the little lightning bolt.
Yeah.
And those were also in some of our logos, our graphic design people, and that was an accident. They had nothing to do with each other. So I always thought that was kind of like a...
And that stemmed from Naylor.
Yeah.
The lightning bolts are on the Naylor amplifier.
I never noticed that.
Yeah, and so Ashton had Naylor amps. That's because Joe knew Ron from the early 90s, from the Naylor days, and then Ron loved those amps and then followed Joe into Reverend, and that was how the whole thing started. So that was how those lightning bolts sort of stayed consistent, because Ronnie thought it would be so cool to have that, you know, that logo on his guitar. So that's cool.
So my first Korean, just talk about me, we can go back to Bees in a second.
Whatever.
But my first like Mirror Music guitar I ever got was the 2010 LE. And it was you were joking, it was the Ken Haas signature.
That was the joke,
Yeah, and I thought, oh, they're only making 10 of them. I'm going to get one of those because it was the year my daughter was born. I thought, I'm going to get a limited edition guitar the year my daughter's born just because that'll be fun. And I bought that guitar, and you had always been like, oh, the Korean stuff's just so much better than the American stuff. And I was still playing my American, and that was like the guitar. I took that guitar home, and, you know, I'd played him in the store, but I played that guitar, and literally I put that Rocco in the case, and then I think like 6-7 years went by, and then that was what Carl wanted. I was like, you know, I don't think I'm, you know, and by that point I had gotten a West, and, you know, I had gotten a Super Rev, and you know, and it's just like, I love that Rocco, and it's cool, and it was a cool guitar to me, but was more in the new camp at that point, you know, so.
And
I still have
I like those original guitars, and I have piles of them.
Yeah.
But they were very specific.
They are
to a very specific sound, and interestingly, I mean, they sound the best through amps that Joe designed.
Yeah.
Go figure, you know. Whereas as the stuff that we're doing now, just sort of, it's a lot more versatile.
Yeah.
You can do many different styles and different things, and it's really sort of opened up the doorways. So before us, what was your first electric guitar?
I had like a Harmony Strat that
Awesome.
I got at a pawn shop that was black. Actually, it looked a lot like the The GPS. It was black pickguard, black body,
Nice.
maple neck. Yeah.
Nice.
And then I went through a series of borrowing all guitars from the store, and I had I had some beater tellies, and I had this, and I was swapping it out. You get doing tech work. I think there's a point where you swap and come and go, and you I don't know, you go mad with power. And now I'm just at a point where I just keep buying guitars for no reason.
No, I don't know. What's that like?
Yeah.
I know. Yeah, I just bought a Pia from him a few weeks ago, and it's
very pretty. It was.
I didn't expect to like it as much as I did. I've got you guys know if you follow me, I have a ridiculous sort of Ibanez collection that I've built up over 30 years, and honestly, that Pia plays better than any of the gems that I have, and I couldn't put my finger on what's different about it. But there is something different about that guitar. It's really interesting. Not that we're here to talk about that mess.
No,
but
I remember when
you.
the first Pias came out, and we laughed at how weird they looked.
Yeah,
and
oh
then,
yeah,
like
for
a
sure.
year later, we're both ordering them, and these are great. Yeah, but
well, the satin black
change.
the satin black is just really wicked looking. There's something about it that's cool. All right, don't think about your answer. Just spit it out.
Okay.
All right. What are your top 5 favorite records? Go.
Hardest Day Tonight, Tom Waits. I'm really into like Elvis Costello. I'm gonna run out before I get to 5 because it just starts getting. I don't know. You put me on the spot.
I do. I put everybody on the spot with this. Yeah, it's fun.
My Aim Is True, Elvis Costello is like one of my favorite records of all time. You know what I've been listening to a lot, which is like kind of embarrassing, but I sort of like love. Like you get to a certain age where like you have these albums that remind you of a time in your life.
Of course.
I've been listening to August and Everything After by the Counting Crows like all the time lately. I don't know why. I just loved that. I think it was just like the right album when I was the right age. I just really like that album lately.
Okay.
I don't know. I listen to a lot of Tom Waits lately.
Okay.
Overnight Sensation, Zappa. I love that album. Mike Bloomfield. I can't think of the name of the album. What's the album?
Guitar Guy stuff.
Yeah, I love Mike Bloomfield. Boy, I can't think of the album. I can think of the cover on it, but it's got Next Time You See Me on it, and I can never remember because.
Has doing the vinyl thing sort of has that got you listening to more stuff? Do you do collector's vinyl or just new vinyl? Or
we do a lot of old vinyl, a lot of collector's vinyl, and we do new stuff too. I'm not as much of a vinyl guy.
I'm not either.
I like it, and I think it's cool, and I have some records. And I really enjoy doing it with people. It's like one of those things where, like, again, you run a business. I love the process. I love seeing the people come in, and I have a super thing about it. And some of the people who work for me are like huge record collectors, have rooms full of vinyl. I'm at a point where I am afraid I'm going to leave my child a hoarder house, so I'm doing my best to stave that off.
Okay.
I already hoard amps and pedals, and I don't need any more hoarder hobbies. So I've been keeping my vinyl at like a 50 amount.
Yeah, I felt that. I felt that hard. We've been collecting vinyl that has Reverends on it.
Oh, nice.
Which I think is
that
all
really
the
cool.
all the records,
that is really
all the vinyl
cool.
you see out in the office, and I like buy frames on Amazon, and because the artwork is cool,
it's so cool,
and just having our place sort of decorated with all of this vinyl that has Reverend stuff on it, but it's really kind of shitty because we don't listen to it. Yeah, it goes in a frame, and that's kind of an odd thing. But what I wanted to ask you was, so with the vinyl thing in your store, is there any record from like the 60s or 70s or 80s that you would have never heard, and then this vinyl showed up and you're like, whoa, like I never would have given that the time of day, and now this is something I'm into?
A band that I got super into, I started getting promos. So like the labels will send us promo copies of stuff before it comes out. And a band that I got super into before anyone knew what they were was like the Black Pumas, which now I think are pretty popular.
See, I don't know anything about that.
Oh my God, I think you'd actually dig them. They're super good. And we got the promo copy like 2 months before their album came out. And you get those promo CDs, and really, like, I would put a stack of them in the car and put it in the player, because I don't even have a CD player at my house anymore. Who has a CD player? So I'd drive it in the car, and I'd, like, flip them into, like, the junk pile at my door, and I'm like, well, this is weird, And that Black Pumas, I put it in, and I, like, listened to it for, like, a week. I'm like, this is great. But that's an album I really got into that I don't think I would have been exposed to otherwise. A lot of the stuff, like, the Collector's Psych, there's a lot of, like, interesting, like, it's been a world where, like, we have this world, and I know about collectability guitars and see certain things and what makes them collectible, and sort of like being around vinyl people, it's really interesting, like learning what those things are in a whole nother industry. It's like a window into that, and it's really interesting, like some of the psych or some of these, the way promo copies are, and what makes one press, like I never really, and this is one of those things that you understand, the vinyl guys know all day, is that, they'll talk about remasters, but they'll be like Led Zeppelin records, and there'll be like 3 different masters through like the era when that album was popular, and some of them are louder, and some of them have more drums on them, and like, I would have just guessed Whole Lotta Love is just Whole Lotta Love, and that's the one we hear.
Right,
but they go to different versions of it, and different people did the master presses, and it's really interesting to like learn that. And maybe I just never thought of that. And you get with vinyl guys and you learn this whole world, and it's just really interesting. I like talking about, because you get into music and guitar gear because you like music, and it's like I say, it's very much a sister world. And part of the reason we got into vinyl was people kept thinking we were a music store. The college kids would come in, see guitars, and like, and leave. And they'd be like, "You guys sell records?" I'd be like, "No." They're like, "Ah," and they'd leave. And one day, 10 of them came in one day, in 1 hour, and asked if we had records, and I went, "Man, I'll get some records."
Maybe you should
I'll get
follow
some
up on that.
Yeah, and it just kind of grew into a thing, and it's been really fun. I really enjoy it.
So, do you think how much has, I know the college industry as a whole has grown exponentially since in the last 25 or 30 years.
Yeah.
So has Mount Pleasant grown with you? I mean, did you sort of get into this at like the right time, and then Central Michigan University, has it grown and put more people in your area too, that's sort of helped you maintain that?
Mount Pleasant is a bit of an oasis because we have Central Michigan University, we have Soaring Eagle. That's what green comes up to Soaring Eagle sometimes. That's how I see green in my store. And so those two things sort of give Mount Pleasant a little bit more of an economy than, say, some of the other towns up our way. I just think it's a really nice town. We're kind of on 27 and M20, and it's kind of a crossroads town. And, I don't know, there's never been a music store as big as us. I think we're just sort of made our own sort of stand. I mean, there used to be a lot of tiny little 10 guitar stores in all around, and they're all kind of gone now, and it's kind of just me. But I think we had a little to do with that too. But as we grew, we sort of displaced a lot of people. But Mount Pleasant it's just a nice town. I really like Mount Pleasant. It's just I joke that it's like you can get a pizza at 3 in the morning, and I don't necessarily have to lock my car, which is a very small Venn diagram of towns, I think. So,
I like Michigan more and more the further you get into it. I always have. My family's from the UP, and
oh really? I didn't know that.
How do you know that?
Well, I see you go up to the UP, but I only know you as Detroit boy. So.
Way in the UP, Keweenaw.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
11-hour drive from here.
Yeah.
It's funny to me. I can drive to New York City in the time it takes me to drive to the town in Michigan that my family lives in.
Yeah. In which you live 10-minute drive from the border of that state.
Yeah, it's a haul, but I love it up there.
Yeah, it's so nice.
And there was a while where we were taking 27 all the way up to the bridge, too. So we would stop in and see you every once in a while or whatever. You're not that far away.
No.
We already talked about how you heard about Reverend. Do you have any limited or unusual Reverends in your store right now? You always have a bunch of limited and unusual Reverends yourself. I have sold you, like in your personal collection.
I have the pink ones, which are 3 I still want, because there was 5.
Yeah, there was 5.
And there's a flat rock. I have a list of the
I
ones.
know who has the flat rock, and I know who has the Tricky Gomez, and I know who has the I know where they are.
What's the third one? Is it? Oh, it's the bass.
It's a
Chris
5-string
bass.
bass.
Yeah, I'll never get that.
Chris's bass.
And the flat rock, that guy told me he'll never sell it.
Yeah, Merritt. Yeah, Mike has that. Muffy. And,
I like how I just kept joking I wanted that guitar, and then one day you just mailed it to me.
Yeah, I know.
I didn't even know I was getting it.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, it's great. It's Eric's seat. It's right by entryway of my house.
Well, you kept saying over and I had this king bolt with a reverse headstock king bolt, and it pink with gold and silver metal flake in it. And you wanted that guitar so bad, and it hung in my office for a long time. And I was like, it was one of those things. I do this sometimes where I'll get these guitars and I'll think, oh, I'm totally going to play this out, and then then I always just play my Eastsider all the time. And it sat here long enough, and you harassed me about it long enough that I thought,
harassed Reed about the V.
Yeah, right. And I was just, and looking at it and knowing it was never going to go to a stage, I'm like, you know what, this is going to make him so happy.
Yeah, it's so cool. You know, it's just like, I think when you work in this industry, there's all this stuff that people think are rare. You know, they think, oh, you know, a blank this, and you know, and you and I, you go around and you go to Carter's, and you go to these places and you see them, you know, and they're cool, and you're like, oh, you know, there's a Dumble, you know, or
yeah.
For $200,000 or something. You go, yeah, that's cool, whatever, you know, and you see your 10th one, and you're like, yeah, and then like. There's like things like that, like those like pink guitars for me were like I would joke like the only guitars in the world I wanted. Like if I could get any guitar, it was those because they were actually truly unique. I knew the story behind them. I knew why you guys had made them, and I thought they were really cool. You know, I like joking that I have the only pink V you guys ever made, and the only pink King Bolt you guys ever made.
Yeah.
And then
you have a pile of the V's.
Yeah, I have 5 V's now.
Yeah.
I like flying V's. My license plate is flying B. You know, it's just fun. And you know, now that I could come across, I got one that had a broken headstock off somebody, and I'm converting it to look like a '70s gold, like a gold top 3 Les Paul, like 3 pickup Les Paul.
Okay.
With like all gold. Like I just tweak them now into like being like I want to find one and make it like an RG, which will look weird.
That would be cool though.
Just to be like HSH and like it put some. Yeah, I like tech. You just get, you know, okay, I'll just start messing with this. It's just for funsies, you know. That's why I had the white one.
No, we're not making them again.
No.
I know you're all going to be asking Penny like, "Oh, are you going to make the V's again?" Blah 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 blah. No, it's not. It's a goofy story, but we just weren't doing. We had it around. We kept it around for Ron and Ron's legacy. Really, I mean, we weren't selling a lot of them to begin with.
Well, I mean, I remember you and I told them long before you got rid of them, and you were like, I like doing them, but they're my worst SKU. They're my lowest
by
seller.
far, yeah.
And they're a cool guitar, but
they're very, very cool guitars. They're so lightweight and resonant and fun, and we weren't infringing on anybody's anything. I know I'm not even probably supposed to talk about this or whatever, but it just is what it is. And, you know, I would say no hard feelings, but that's not true. Oh, hey, so what do you like about selling Reverend guitars?
You know, I feel like every time I sell one to someone, they get super into them. You know, I feel like I always joke that like.
That's cool.
Well, you know, like, you know, almost everyone that works there are like 23 employees, and like everyone that plays guitar. I think Eric's new, and he's the only one that doesn't have a Reverend yet. And I'm pretty sure by the time he leaves here, he's gonna be halfway. He's new. Give him a minute.
Okay,
he's
all
new.
right.
You know, but you know, it's like one of those things I always tell people, you'll own it like a month, and then you'll be like way more into it than you are right now. You know, a lot of guitars you get like the fun burns off. You buy a guitar, you're like, yeah, and then like a month later, you're like, I'm still terrible at the guitar.
Really?
You know, yeah. But you know, I think one of the things like I think a lot of people I see them like get like their first Reverend, and like, you know, I've always really liked the detail on like the tech work, like I say, I do a lot of, I train all the techs, and I started as a tech before I had B's. I was a tech, and you know, I just think that like they just set up really good, and they just like stay in. I mean, I had my West has been upstairs. I bought a house last year. I've been remodeling it, and it's been in a corner of my house, hanging on the wall. And the other day, I went and picked it up, and I thought I hadn't played this guitar in like 3 months. It's been in a corner, and I picked it up, and it was perfectly in tune. And I was like, yeah. It's like, that's why I own this guitar. You know, it's like
awesome.
It's just like I think people just get really into them. They get really happy, and people will tell me something like, you know, I'll buy this guitar, and I think it's cool, but you know, I love my Les Paul. And about 6 months later, they're in there with that case, trading it in towards another one, and you're like, yeah, that's what I thought was gonna happen.
Oh my God,
you know,
that's awesome.
I really, it's always been one of those things where I just feel like people just love them. And you know, I've been, like I say, I've been doing them for like, you know, over a decade.
It's been 15 years. It's been 15 years, yeah.
And we were, I mean, I don't think you guys had more than like 20 dealers when we were there. I don't know how many you guys had when we picked it up, but I was just like, I love these guitars, and I have always told you that.
Hey, well, and you know, we appreciate you very much, obviously. So what else, I mean, we've talked about the store quite a bit, but I'm all about, so what are the other brands that you carry? I know guitar-wise, you've got Fender and Ibanez.
We don't do Fender. We do a ton of Ibanez.
I thought you did Fender. I don't know why I thought that.
No, we do Epiphone.
Okay.
We do, which we don't do a ton of. I do a ton of Ibanez. I really do. I mean, I bet, you know, they make like 500 guitars. I bet we
Oh
have
yeah,
300 of them in
Jeez,
stock. I bet.
they're so prolific.
Yeah, I mean, we stock almost every Prestige they make. I mean, I've been really trying to like get heavy into them because they're cool and they're
they're
nice
cool.
guys, and it's been a good brand for us, and it's it's different than this stuff for sure.
Sure,
and
sure.
we try and get a lot of stuff that sort of dovetails into each other. We do. I'm gonna forget everything I do.
Oh, whatever.
We do a lot of ESP. We
Okay.
do. I'm gonna totally stay in here and just forget everything.
Amp lines.
We do Orange, Marshall. We do some PV, but PV I don't even make it as much stuff. It seems like lately. We do like Boss. We do like the Katanas.
Yeah.
You got me into those Waza Airs. I have not
Yeah,
bought
those
any
things are
yet.
cool.
Those are cool.
Yeah, they're cool. They're really cool. The katanas are cool too.
Yeah, it's
They're
cool
good
stuff.
sound
I
stuff.
mean, we do. I'm gonna stand here and just forget everything. We do a lot of like Sterling. We do like the Music Man Sterling. We do like Heritage.
Okay. Yeah, we're good friends with the Heritage people.
Yeah, they're really.
They make some nice stuff. Hard to get a hold of.
No, not too bad. My rep's
Yeah.
pretty.
Is
they
he
answer my
pretty
email,
much on it?
Gerald.
Cool. Awesome. You doing the harmony stuff?
No, I haven't gotten into that. It's cool, but I don't know if it's.
And then you have all the pedal lines.
Yes.
I mean,
practically.
JHS. Are you doing Earthquaker?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And-
I think we have every single Earthquaker in stock.
Wow.
I
Which
mean,
that in itself is saying something.
Yeah, I mean, I think we have almost one of everything by most pedal makers. Usually, if we do them, we do one of everything. So as long as it's. In
And I got
production-
my Strymon pedal from
Yeah,
you.
we do-
I know you do a lot of stuff with Strymon.
We do Strymon.
I'm sitting here thinking about I bought a lot of gear from you.
Yeah.
Like you have all the cool shit,
Because
right?
you just
Like,
text me.
Yeah, right.
Hey, do you have one of these?
Yeah, do you have one
I'll
of
have
these?
Brendan call you. Yeah. Yeah, it's cool.
Penny's gonna delete your number from my phone.
Yeah. Yeah, we just keep trying to find stuff people like, and if it sells, we get more of it. I really just like growing the thing overall. So.
The next question is do you have any unusual hobbies or pastimes that you want to share with us? And the funny thing is like this could be a whole other conversation. Like we're gonna have to trim this down, but I will tell you, I have seen the vintage tractors on your Facebook page, and that shit is rad. And I've sent you some pictures. The farm,
into farm
the
too,
farm
yeah.
in the UP. My great uncle, who is going to be 99 this year, he'll be 99 at Christmas this year. But he has a 46 and a 48 farmhalls. He has the narrow tires in the front, and then the one with the wide. And then there's early 70s.
Like the
McCormick International with the cab on it that they used to blow snow up there or whatever.
Those are good, yeah.
But they all run, and they have all been a part of his. I mean, he farmed with those original ones, and they're just so old and cool. And
I drove my grandpa had an A and a B farmall. I have the BN that was his, and that was a 39. And I used to drive it around, and we would do hay rides and stuff, and I would always hop on it, and was one of the grandkids that would use like, fine, I'll run the machine, And last year he got terminal cancer and was selling everything off, and I was like, I can't let this go, And he'd done parades, and he would go do the tractor shows and shine it up and put it in the line of everybody's tractor. And I decided to buy his tractor off him, and I've been getting into it. I go to the tractor stores, I bought a trailer to haul it, and then I bought a Cub, which is like a 49, which is like, it was what became Cub Cadet, but it's like smaller. And then I tore that one right down and completely rebuilt it all last summer. That's what you saw. It was I had this thing in like pieces in the garage, and because I'm mechanical, I love old machines.
Yeah,
and I decided that I didn't want to learn how to work on farmhalls on Grandpa's BN, because if I blew it up, I would never forgive
you'd be
myself.
horrified.
So I bought a Cub that I thought if I blew up would be fine. And I spent all summer rebuilding that. And then last night I saw Eric. I had the BN in the garage, and I just put it back together. And I cut down. It's so big that it doesn't fit in my garage, because I live like in the city. Like I literally live. My neighbor's house is like 10 feet from my house. And I cut down the muffler so that I could drive it in the garage. I put it on the bench and cut it down with the angle grinder, so it's like ungodly louder than it should be. And I got it running last night, so it runs way louder. And I was like driving around the neighborhood at like 9 o'clock in the dark with the headlights on, and it's like, and I'm like, I gotta call it a night, or I'm gonna end up in jail. So, but yeah, I'm super into vintage tractors. We just did a parade float with the store, and my dad drove one and I drove the other, and we did floats for the store and had a band on the trailer, and it's really fun.
That's awesome.
I joke it's like my middle-aged motorcycle, except it goes 8 miles an hour, and and I plow snow with it, and
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that's what you
I
do.
mean, you gotta have hobbies, and it's
Yeah.
fun. Old machinery is, it's field serviceable. It was meant to be serviced in a field, so it's very.
Yeah, right.
It's not too hard. It's not, I'm not tearing apart a turbocharger or anything. It's fairly straightforward, and it's fun to mess with them. And I grew up rural, so it's kind of keeping my roots. So.
What do you have coming up at the store that we should know about?
So 20
anything?
years of bees
Yeah.
is this year, which I've been talking to you about it.
Yeah.
And in fact, we probably need to talk about that once we're off. But
Yeah, right.
we're we talk about my cat logo. Everybody likes my cat logo. And in
Yeah.
about 17 years, I went full, I don't care anymore. I'm just going to make my logo a cat. And then it was a very popular decision.
Yeah, right.
but,
With the two Reverend Buckshots.
Yeah, and I literally called you and go, I think I'm going to make my logo skull and crossbow, 2 guitars. Can I use buckshots? And you're like, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, this is on everything. Our boxes. I was telling we get tape now with the cats on it, and we sell so much merch now. It's really funny. We sell a lot of shirts and
That's great.
hoodies and.
Yeah.
But we're at 20 years, and like I never really thought this would last 2 years. Nevertheless, 20. So. I'm really trying to build a big year. We're looking at doing, I don't want to spoil too much stuff, but we're doing a bunch of limited stuff probably next year for 20th anniversary. We're going to buy,
They are.
I think that might be the coolest thing I've ever done.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah, there's some pretty cool stuff coming down the pipe
And
from us for sure.
marrying, I have people getting powder coat that matches that.
Oh, neat.
So we
that's really cool.
So there's going to be some matching products that are going to match those, but that's
And we were planning on attending the big anniversary party, and then NAMM announced it the same weekend that we were planning on doing all this stuff. So we haven't rescheduled, but when the anniversary party happens, we will be up there.
Yeah, because
sure.
you guys are going to be there.
We,
and then
we're going to bring Greg.
Yeah.
Right, Greg is already down with the program. We just got to get
I was
we got
trying
to
to
get the
get
date
Paul
right.
Gilbert, but Ivan has called me and they left me a message and they said, I can't even tell you how much money it is to get Paul Gilbert, but you're going to laugh out loud, so you need to call me because we need to laugh at how much he's asking for a clinician right now. And I don't know what it is, but I'm guessing it's like 10 times more than it was 2 years ago. Oh my God. Which I love him and he's great and I'm sure he's worth it, but that may not happen because I don't know.
Ken almost just fainted dead away, right?
Well, that was my original plan.
We've
for like
already
a
had
year.
this.
Yeah,
I already knew
that
this.
was my plan. Was that Greg and
I already knew this was happening, so that's why I didn't faint because
that was my. I wanted Greg and Paul were like that would be like let's go all out,
Yeah, that would be amazing.
Everyone has to be 6'5" or higher to be a. There's a height requirement on the clinicians, but yeah, we'll figure some stuff out. NAMM kind of threw a monkey wrench, and coronavirus has been its own thing,
of
so
course.
it's hard to plan a big gathering and go, well, I think everything will be fine in 8 months, but that's.
Well, we'll pick a date.
Everything. Yeah.
We'll pick a date and lead into it and make it happen. LG, are there any questions that we should address before because we've been going here for a while, so we should probably bail.
Right.
But if there's any questions that we
I have 2 questions.
fire
Okay.
away.
Frederick for Brian.
Oh,
Okay, I'll repeat. So
He got himself a Jetstream RB. He
Uh-huh.
loves it. He's looking for something that would complement it and wants to know what you would recommend. He's blues, jazz, rock, metal.
So we have a guy who has a Jetstream RB who is looking for something to complement it and is wondering about Brian's opinion.
They can see it.
Oh, that's okay.
Oh, cool. Yeah, the Jetstream RB is your new pickups. I really like them because they sit. I'm not a humbucker guy. We started with that.
Yeah.
And I like humbuckers. And I have rail hammers in some of my guitars, the regular humbucker styles. But there's something about those pickups that are just like a little magic mojo-y that I really like. And I'm not usually if I get guitar humbuckers, they're like, this is sound cool if it has singles. That's usually who I am. And you sent me, I want to say a couple years ago, you sent me a contender with those pickups in it that was like a scratch and dent from the NAMM show. We worked out some probably horse trading for some product, and I got this contender, and I was like, this is not a guitar I would ever normally think I would dig. And I played it for like 2 minutes. I'm like, this is cool. I love this guitar, and it really struck. It's fun in this industry, I think, to be caught off guard at this point when you're in it long enough. You're so used to kind of things are what you expect. I don't know. It depends on the player a lot. I would really think almost going to like a Tele or like an HPP would be cool because you have the humbucker, the 2 P90s, 2 different pickups in one guitar. But I guess you got a Jetstream, maybe a hardtail. Boy, it's such a personal question, man. like maybe a Charger with 2P90 Charger would be in a different direction. Yeah, that would be really, yeah.
I mean, this combines a lot of those elements too.
2P90s, yeah, hardtail, because that'll give it just like a little bit more like of a chunk, but yeah, totally more chime, a lot more chime, a lot more top end.
Yeah.
But boy,
Interesting question and very, very hard to answer.
yeah.
What else you got, LG?
Sky would like to know how the Cleancut would sound through their pedal board of 6 metal zone pedals.
Well, no, that's what we were talking about at the top of this show. The lower output pickups really, you can play with them and you can play around with that sort of stuff and allow the pedals to do the work as opposed to the pickups of the guitar. So you're going to end up with a lower noise floor to begin with, and then you can compound it from there. I think this is I don't have a metal zone on here, although I do have a metal zone in the back. But this is a turbo distortion with the turbo turned on, and it has some of that ultra high gain and mid-range thing that the metal zone. And when you're playing the single note stuff, you can hear that mid where it does this sort of wah thing, where the wah is like half cocked. It's going to sound a little like that. I guess I could have had that louder. Everybody's going to complain because that wasn't the noise floor on 6 metal zones. Is here, let's give that some volume.
With no guitar plugged in, probably.
Yeah. It's my go-to turbo distortion riff of this, the KMFDM.
Yes.
Drug Against War. It's a good one. I like all kinds of weird shit, y'all.
And then I have one more question.
All right.
I don't know what it means.
Okay.
So
Is it from Atom Bomb? Because that will.
it is not.
Okay.
It's from Kevin Stowe.
That's Kevin that works at Bees. So
here it
go
comes.
on.
Here it comes.
Brian, would you rather fight one 10-sized railhammer or 100 railhammer-sized cats?
That's the Reddit joke. Would you rather fight one big one or 100? I mean, I could fight 100. If like shotgun 3 beers, I could go in a room in this building and fight 100 railhammers.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that could happen.
Yeah.
I'd rather fight 100 railhammers. I don't know
Good
if there's
answer.
really difference.
Awesome. Hey, thanks for coming.
Dude, I love coming
this was
here.
excellent.
I will always have an excuse to come here.
Yeah,
I love
absolutely.
it, so.
And then if you're in Central Michigan area, or if you're anywhere,
If you're anywhere in the world, beesmusicshop.com.
yeah, and
We always have reverends. I think we were picking up like another 10 today.
right, stop by the store and see the stuff he's taking home today. And we'll be here. We'll be here next week, won't we, LG?
I think so.
Yeah, we'll be here next Friday. We'll see you next Friday, y'all. Have a terrific weekend, and yeah, from the Circle R Ranch, Ken and Brian. Later.